But I can tell you, in our community, you have a lot of 45-year-old teenagers out here. You have a lot of men who don't want responsibility for anything. They can't even take responsibility for themselves. So the idea of imagining taking responsibility for a group of people, leading, being a leader, leading a group of people, that's beyond their comprehension for some of them.
Stop the cap.
Once again, everybody, it's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. Team YouTube music! Guys, dating single moms has always been a very important topic, especially in red pill or manosphere spaces. Many guys have tried it. Many guys look down upon the experience, not necessarily for the kids, but it could be a crazy baby daddy. Gunshots! It could also be disrespect from the kids themselves, or it's just not an optimal situation for a man who is A, successful, or B, possesses optionality. And this is what we're going to be dealing with today. Successful men who have optionality, or even average men who have optionality, especially if you do not have kids. Okay, that's what we're dealing with. And it brings us to the topic of the day. This young lady went to a podcast event and she has a very interesting question that she's going to ask. Let's play that clip.
Mom of 7 and I'm 33.
Okay.
With being a mom of 7, do you think that a woman of multiple children is still capable of finding someone?
First, let me ask you before I make the statement. Do the kids have the same father?
Yes, they do.
Okay, well, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Okay, so this is a little, hold on. We're talking about 7 children, okay? This is no offense to you because it's absolutely possible for you to find a quality man. What makes it a tad bit difficult is that you have to find a man who has the financial footing to take care of you and 7 children. And then you also have to be able to find a man who is going to be willing to come in and create structure in that household. 7 children on one person is a lot to create structure in. So there's a lot that this man is going to have to come in and do. On top of that, creating a secure space for you when you have to be a mother and you have to take care of the majority of the things that happen in a house. Are you going to have the ability to be able to love this man in a way that he needs to be loved, in a way that registers as love to him when you have to love 7 other individuals? You're going to need a man who can love those children as his own. Yep. That is a huge responsibility to put on a person who does not have those children. Those are not his kids. Right. But if I were you, no disrespect, I'll try to work it out with the father.
No, hear me out. Hold on.
So you heard her. She has 7 children. Thankfully, it's all by the same man. I'm not sure if she was married. The response that one of the ladies gave her was, hey, you should probably work it out with the guy's father or your kid's father. She emphatically denied that, as you can see by her body language. But then there's somebody else who gave their honest opinion of this interaction. That was Dr. Boyce WATKINS. And he did respond to it like this.
Second piece here. Children are a blessing, but you don't understand what a blessing children are until you get to a certain age and a certain level of maturity. The problem you have in your community is that you have a community that really lacks masculinity. So you have a lot of men who cannot even fathom the idea of doing the work required and having the maturity required to be able to manage a group of children. They never saw it. They never had it. They never engaged with a real man on a daily basis. They never had a man step in for their mother. So they really think that their job is to go around, spread your seed, put your penis in every girl that moves, show up to her house just to have sex and eat dinner, and then go home and literally reject these little children, these little souls, these little innocent kids that might be looking to you for mentorship or leadership. Now, I'm not here to tell every man how to be a man. I can't do that. I can only talk to the men who want to be men and those who already are there. The little boys, I can't deal with. But I can tell you, in our community, you have a lot of 45-year-old teenagers out here. You have a lot of men who don't want responsibility for anything. They can't even take responsibility for themselves. So the idea of imagining taking responsibility for a group of people, being a leader, leading a group of people, that's beyond their comprehension for some of them. So I can definitely say this. If I was talking to the woman and she wanted my 2 cents, I would say, well, If you're going to get a man that's going to help you with those 7 kids, you better find you a real man. You better find a man that knows how to hustle. You better find a man that ain't scared of hard work. You better find a man who understands responsibility. You got to find a man who has an investor's mindset, where he understands that investing in young people is a good way to protect himself in old age. It's a great contribution to the community. You have to find a man who's got real masculinity. Masculinity is not just smoking a cigar. You see guys running around smoking cigars and growing beards, because that those beards literally are beards. The beards are fake masculinity used to cover up false masculinity. It covers up their weakness. It covers up their insecurity. So they think that that's masculinity. Drinking liquor, smoking cigars, and growing a beard. That does not make you a man. That does not make you masculine. What makes you a man is having strategic thinking, intelligence. What makes you a man is the ability to work hard for your goals. What makes you a man is being able to compete in the world. What makes you a man is being able to lead properly. What makes you a man is being able to take responsibility for something. That is literally a universal metric of masculinity, even amongst mammals. They measure masculinity by how much territory you can control and how many people you can actually hold down. So a lot of your men are weak. They are the beta to the white man's alpha. They don't know nothing about taking leadership and nothing. All they know how to do is be pleasure seekers. All they know how to do is show up for the sex and dinner and then go home, because they don't want responsibility for anything, because responsibility scares them. So I'm not saying that every man needs to go and take responsibility for somebody's kids, because you may not be qualified for the job. But I am here to say that there are millions of children in the black community. There are millions of kids who, through no fault of their own, have no man that's protecting them. There are millions of children out there. And what is really fascinating to me is how many people will just look at that situation and say, "F those kids." I just don't understand how you could call yourself pro-black and say, to hell with all these little black babies. I don't care nothing about these damn kids. All I care about is my liquor, my weed, and my hoes. That's what you have. You have a lot of little 45-year-old children. They walk around. Whoa! You see the one guy. There was one guy, when she said she had 7 kids. He pulled his sunglasses down like, "Ooh, I ain't messing with that." And I'm not saying that somebody needs to go. That he needs to go be with her. He shouldn't try it, because he's not qualified. He can't do the job. He's going to fail. But what I am saying is that that nobody on that panel is qualified to tell her what she's capable of in her life.
So I thought this was pretty interesting to respond to. Give Boyce Watkins a round of applause for giving me yet more content. And of course, Boyce Watkins decides to come after, black men in the black community. Men who have nothing to do with her having 7 kids. And of course, you heard what Dr. Boyce Watkins says. We have a lot of immature black men in the community. All black men are participants in hedonism, self-aggrandizing. They don't care about anybody else but themselves. And if you get a real man, he needs to be an investor. He needs to be responsible. He needs to be masculine. All black men care about is their own liquor and drinking. Those who do not want to sign up for 7 kids, because these children are a blessing from God. Now, it's very interesting that Boyce Watkins is never in the middle with any of this verbiage. It is, as black men, if you don't want to do this, you are selfish. All you care about is liquor, drugs, and Jordans, or whatever he's saying, and all of these things. When he's not dealing with something in the beginning, which is, could the woman be immature for having those kids and not being married? Or certain women who have children by multiple men? And he mentioned it even like, hey, some of these guys have never seen their mother have a man in their life. Well, why do you think that is? Some of our mothers were very, you guessed it, boys, immature. That's right. Okay? What you're asking for, and so many folks in the black community are asking for this, is for black men to step into situations with ladies who may be immature and irresponsible. Step into that situation and become responsible for something that is not your business. That's what you're asking for. A similar statement is, the migrants coming into the United States, you taxpayers need to be responsible for them. And if you don't want to pay for these migrants, you're weak and you're selfish and you're a loser. And really what he's not dealing with is the fact that many black men don't want to be bothered, not because the woman has children or not, but if you have these children, 7 kids, sometimes by multiple men, In this case, it wasn't, but we do see that most women in the black community, if they have more than one kid, by multiple different guys. Well, maybe this person is not making the right decision. So there is no way that if I have options or if I have the ability to do something different, well, what is my incentive in dealing with that? I can create my own children. And for the fact that the guy that men that she's dealing with, she's not with them anymore. Well, as a man, what does that tell you? If you come across someone that has multiple children, right? So you got to think about, well, number one, where do I fit in this person's life? Why must I sacrifice in this person's life? And what have they given up for me? Usually the lady's not going to give up anything for you. She's going to benefit. Her kids are still going to come first, and you're going to be there taking care of the kids that you have limited options into disciplining and all of those things. And so if you neglect that and you don't want to take care of somebody else's responsibilities from whatever decisions that they made, you're a weak black man all of a sudden. And this is one of the reasons why a lot of Boyce Watkins commentary when it comes to things like this is very immature. It just doesn't make sense. Any black man that has optionality, or he has an ability to not be in a situation which is not optimal, he's not going to do it. Would a woman get with a man in situations that are not optimal? Most women will not do that. Most women require men to do a lot of things before they even consider being with them. All right? Like if a man is broke, he's not exceptional looking. He has 7 kids and he doesn't have much to offer her. That woman is not going to deal with you. But hey, let's ask black men who may have a lot going for them to deal with something like this in which they get nothing from it. Hey, listen, everything isn't the black man's fault. Whatever ladies decide to do in their own life, and if they have children with the wrong man and they have to keep those children, and you're asking somebody that, you know, is good looking or smart or intelligent to deal with a situation like that, hey, the result is if a guy has options, he's not gonna deal with it if he doesn't have to. So let's demean and look down upon these black men who have optionality. And again, it's beating down on guys who didn't make the decision. The person who made the decision was her. She could have used condoms. She could have had birth control. She could have picked a better guy. She didn't. Now let's make it somebody else's fault who wasn't even there. I mean, were you there, guys in the room? Booty clapping sounds? I don't think so. The reality is that as much as you're saying black men are immature, and yes, there is a lot of black male immaturity in the black community. Well, I know what Boyce Watkins is afraid to talk about, that we also have equally black female immaturity. Immature women don't want an immature man. Just like mature men do not want to deal with immature women who make bad decisions. All right? Both statements are true. Now, if we ever say that black women who are mature don't want to deal with guys who have, you know, their pants hanging off their behinds, or if they're losers, we fundamentally don't have a problem with that. Whenever black men don't want to deal with something that they feel, you know, it has a consistency or a history of having red flags or being a situation where these ladies don't meet the mark, now that's a problem. And this is why largely people like Boyce Watkins don't get that much support from black men, because they're not being fair. That's why. It is okay to come down hard on black men when it is deserving. In this case, it's not. There is no fundamental reason to put down these guys for saying, hey, this is a situation we don't want to be a part of, and that doesn't make us weak black men for saying no. But guys, what do you think? It's your boy, LCD Jackson, back at it again with another episode of Celebrity Junk. Before you do, start a bell, we're out.